You have a winning strategy but still lose money. Here's why. I was trading NASDAQ during this particular trade. I knew I needed 2 days for my trade to play out, so I bought a contract with just enough time to go from Thursday to Monday. The trade moved up 100%, doubling my initial investment, but instead of holding as my strategy dictated, I closed the trade. Fear set in, and all my knowledge about my strategy went out the window as emotions took over. By the following Monday, those $500 contracts were worth $15,000. I left $14,000 on the table, not because my strategy was incorrect, but because my mind wouldn't allow me to do what I knew. What's up, traders? Today, I'm breaking down the Execution Quotient Quadrant, the framework that transformed my trading psychology and finally allowed me to become consistently profitable. Trading success is more about mindset than strategy. This truth became evident to me when I looked around and saw that despite the wealth of information available online through YouTube, Google, and AI, very few people achieve consistent success in trading. The strategies I used were proven effective. Many traders were profitable with them, yet I wasn't consistently profitable. This realization led me to understand that the missing piece wasn't the strategy, but my mindset. What you're viewing is the Execution Quotient Quadrant, also known as EQQ for traders. This quadrant has been developed over years of me analyzing my own personal trades, my own strategies, and my own struggle with my journey. There are two major things that affect your trading ability: how fast or slow you think, and how emotional or detached you are from your trading. In your day-to-day life, you're sliding between these different quadrants based on different environmental factors, subconscious programming, and other factors. In the bottom left, we have the hesitant trader. And if you're emotional and slow thinking, you're going to be hesitant. You'll have fearful and indecisive thought processes. When you're hesitant to take opportunities, when you see them, you often miss them entirely. The trade gets 40% to where it wants to go. You enter late, you end up holding too long, and then price turns around on you. In the top left, we have the overthinker. If you're detached from money, but still think slowly, you become passive in your approach. You notice the trade is going against you, but don't close it to save your capital because you see other sources of income as more important. In the bottom right, we have the gambler. If you're emotional but think quickly, you become impulsive, you overtrade, often leading to revenge trading because you're trying to get back money you've lost. You see opportunities that aren't really great opportunities, just half setups. And finally, in the top right, where we want to be, is the elite trader. This person is detached from the outcome of their P&L and thinks quickly. They see their setup and instantly pull the trigger regardless of the outcome. They're cold and calculated like snipers or top athletes in clutch moments. Let me show you a real example. Here's a trade I took on the NASDAQ. My strategy called for entering at this level with a stop loss here and a target here. The setup was perfect. All my confluences lined up. But instead of executing like an elite trader, I hesitated. I saw the setup, but fear crept in. What if it drops? What if I'm wrong? These thoughts slowed me down. By the time I entered, the price had already moved 30 points in my favor, giving me a worse entry. Then, as the trade moved in my favor, I started to feel euphoric. I think, I'm a genius. This trade is amazing. Instead of sticking to my plan and letting it hit my target, I closed early at the first sign of resistance. The trade eventually hit my original target and went beyond. This single execution gap cost me thousands in potential profits. And it wasn't because my strategy was flawed. It was because I was operating in the wrong quadrant. So how do you move to the elite trader quadrant? It depends on your starting point. If you're in the gambler quadrant, implement pattern-based execution. Only take trades that match your predefined patterns exactly. Create a checklist and don't deviate. After each trade, take a 15-minute break before considering another entry. If you're in the hesitant quadrant, use the 2-second rule. When you see your setup, you must execute within 2 seconds or not at all. Take 50 small trades in a simulator, focusing only on immediate execution without analyzing outcomes. If you're in the overthinker quadrant, do speed drills. Set a timer for 5 minutes, make trading decisions rapidly, focusing on action over analysis. Simplify your strategy by reducing your indicators and decision points to the essential minimum. Remember, the EQQ isn't static. You'll move between quadrants based on market conditions, life circumstances, and your psychological state. The goal isn't to permanently stay in the elite trader quadrant. That's nearly impossible. Instead, aim to recognize which quadrant you're in and have specific tools to move yourself toward the elite trader quadrant when needed. One of the most powerful exercises I've developed is what I call the 50 loss drill. This might sound counterintuitive, but it's based on exposure therapy from clinical psychology. Here's how it works. In the simulator, take 50 intentional losses. After each loss, say aloud, I survived, next trade. Focus on the physical sensations during losses and notice how they diminish with each repetition. My breakthrough came when I realized I was trying to become a consistent, profitable trader, And that very thought process was keeping me from being one. The key was to become the goal, not pursue the outcome of the goal. Once I became the kind of person who is a profitable trader, someone who constantly works on psychology rather than strategy, who monitors thoughts and feelings throughout the trading day and journals them, who puts themselves through rigorous tests to develop resilience, I instantly achieved the goal. The trading mind is the final frontier in trading mastery. Technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and strategy development have all been thoroughly explored and documented. But the psychology of execution, the ability to do what you know you should do when you should do it, remains the elusive edge that separates the elite from everyone else. To close your own execution gap, I've created a free execution gap assessment tool that will identify which quadrant you're currently operating in and give you specific exercises to move toward the elite trader quadrant. Click the link in the description to get instant access. Remember, the execution gap isn't just about knowing versus doing. It's about becoming the kind of trader who executes flawlessly as a natural extension of who they are. That's the ultimate goal of the execution quotient framework, and it's now within your reach. Trade well, trade with discipline, and most importantly, trade like the elite trader you were meant to be.